Hey guys, back by popular demand, I decided to make a bodice DVD, which will be available on YouTube. And here we go. I've started a little bit, got ahead of myself. I cut my whole pattern out and even pinned some of it together so it would be ready to go. This, I guess I'll call my lining. I've got it all pinned together, and I'm just going to show you how to do this. Okay. Here are my pieces, and you would normally think that the front of the fabric would be the shiny part, which you can use it, but it's not. That's the back. The face of the fabric is the dull part with the lines on it. Some people use the shiny part, because I mean, if you're using glitz, why not? But I'm not going to talk about that for too long. Anyway, to pin this together, this is my center front. These are my two side pieces. We'll start at the top and then pin it at the bottom. And then I'll go everywhere in between. I like to have all this ready so when I get to my machine, I'm just ready to go and I can sew it all at one time while I'm sitting there. Okay, now I'm going to put the side pieces on. Wait, that's the wrong side. So I was just talking about the shiny side and the other side. Make sure you have your dull sides together. Shiny side up. It might get confusing, especially if you've ever used it where you put the shiny side up a lot. And pin this side. Then I'll be ready to go to my sewing machine. Have both of these pinned, and that's what it looks like. And sew at a 1/2 inch seam allowance what we've already pinned. I'm going to just repeat this on all the, yes, I do sew right over my pins. My grandmother always taught me not to waste time taking them out. Here's my other section. Okay, we'll take these pins out and just show you real quick what this looks like. I know a lot of people sew their tops and then their bottoms and then they sew the sides. And that's true in costume making, but I make mine just a little bit different and make it one whole piece, and then I sew the front to the back. And there's my front. And this, my seams are where I'm going to sew the boning, and that's what we're going to learn how to do next. Hey everybody, I like to use ridgeline boning, 1/2 inch, and this doesn't have a casing. You sew this directly to the fabric. Now I'm going to show you how to prepare it. First you measure it. You need to measure a 1/2 inch down from each, from the top and the bottom. And what I do is I just cut 2 of these because I'm going to need one for each side. Okay, that's my sides. I'm also going to need a piece for the back, the very back. So we'll cut 2 for that. Alright, that's for the ends. And this is for the center. We'll cut 2 pieces for that. Okay, now what you do is you need to have a cigarette lighter, and you take your pieces and you're going to cut them and make them rounded, and then you're going to burn the edges because you don't want this poking through and hitting one of your girls, because it will come through the fabric. So you just melt the edges of the boning, and do this on every piece. And just round it off. Okay, I'm keeping them separate so you know which ones go with what. Need to have a sharp pair of scissors for this, so we'll cut that boning. Okay, I'm about to be through measuring my boning and burning the ends of it and rounding them off, and I'm going to carry it to the machine and show you guys how to sew these in. Okay, I have my boning, and this is the end. This is going to be where you're lacing up on the end, so I'm going to put a piece of boning there to make it strong. I come down, I don't mark it, I just come down about a 1/2 inch from the top and come over about a 1/2 inch from the side. And I'm going to do that on the other side. This is what it looks like on the outside. but I'm going to sew this piece into the side. And you're going to put it right over the middle of the seam. And actually sew it right over the seam. Okay, now I'm going to do my center. Okay, I'll do the other centerpiece. And when you get through this, you have to curve them this way when you're sewing them in, the way that they curve. But you can take this and go to the ironing board, and you can iron the curve out of it. Okay, and there is with the boning in, and I'm going to take it to the ironing board and iron all these curves out of it. Okay, so I use a press cloth and I put it over the top to get the curve out of this so I can work with it easier, and then steam it. So a little bit of steam and it gets that out of there. Never mind my little dog. Puppet, that's enough. Okay, and so that's with them ironed. Okay. I'm gonna show you guys how to make the pieces for the back for where it's gonna be laced up. And I have a piece of stabilizer here. And what I want to do is put the stabilizer behind this, and then you turn it towards itself like that with the stabilizer on the outside, and then you just stick a pin through this because we're going to sew it. And you do the same thing on the other end. You pin it just like that, and you sew it. Super stretch is a booger. Look at the pins through. Okay. I have stabilizer, but you could use interfacing, a heavy interfacing. This is what I use to make my sashes with, and it's really heavy. I use it for a lot of different things. Okay, and then you just take these to the machine and you sew across here at a 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay, we're at the machine where I'm going to sew these where we just got through pinning them. A 1/2 inch seam allowance. Okay. Okay. And take your pins out. We're going to flip these. Don't bother about cutting or trimming that off. Leave it in there. It's going to give you some stability on the inside of there. Then you pin this crossways like this. And this is actually how, what the little strap that you're going to use to lace up the back is going to be attached to, is this part. Okay. Alright, then I'm going to sew this. I just sew this at 1/4 inch because when I sew it again onto my bodice, I will need it to be sewed at the 1/2 inch to cover up the seam that I just sewed. Okay. Now we're going to take this and we're going to attach, well, we're going to attach this to our bodice, and then I'm going to show you how to sew the lining to the bodice front. Okay, now we're going to sew these on. I've got them pinned. And you need to put it back on your 1/2 inch seam allowance. On that side and on this side. Okay. That's how those go on. I'll take the pins out. Okay, then I'm going to pin this to my lining. Okay. Then I use my pins and I pin my lining to my bodice front. This is my lining. And it goes directly over the front of that. And then you pin the sides. I pin all my seams flat. Usually pin them first. And I think you guys get the rest of the idea of how to... Okay, I've got my bodice lining pinned to my front, and I'm going to sew it at the top. And he's going to use a 1/2 inch seam allowance. I'm going to do the same thing at the bottom. Okay, I'm going to show you how to stitch in the ditch. Okay, here we go. You just turn that under. Put this under your machine. No pins. Stitch right in that crease. And that's how you stitch in the ditch. Okay, we're going to do a finishing stitch at the very top and the very bottom. I put mine about 1/4 to 1/8 of an inch away from the top or the bottom. This one I'm going to do about 1/8 of an inch. Okay, there's the top done. Now I'm going to do the bottom. Okay. The pet peeve of mine is for strings to be hanging. Alright, and there's the finished bodice, and now we're going to do some straps. Next strap. I'm just making this plain strap, but if you wanted to add a ruffle, what you would do is you would sew your ruffle to one side of the whole line of it, and then you would tuck your ruffle, and you would flip this over on top of the ruffle and sew that down like I'm about to do right now. And then I have a turner that I use to turn these. You turn that, and then that will make your neck strap. Now we're going to do the lace-up straps. These have to be serged on your serger. And you take one strap, fold it in half. I usually pull this thread if it doesn't come through really good and easy. But that's how I do that. I do the other one. You just need two of these, one for each side. Doesn't want to come through, pull it in the back by the string. And I use my turner to turn these as well. And I also have my strap. Now this is my lace-up strap. I know this isn't long enough, but I just wanted to show y'all how to make up your own lace-up strap instead of using ribbon or whatnot. You just fold this just like you did these other straps. Put it under there and get it started. And just serge the whole width. It has to be on the way the material stretches. So this will stretch. And you know, a serge stitch acts as a stretch stitch. So in case you didn't know that, you can stretch this and these stitches will not pop out. Okay. I have my turner and I have my strap. And this is how this works. You just put that in one side. You grab it and pull it through the other side. I always do mine the way it stretches. Hanging on by a thread there. You just pull this through. And of course do this with a stretch stitch. I didn't do it with a stretch stitch, I totally forgot. But if you do that and it and all the stitches pop out, you know why you need to do it with a stretch stitch. But this is going to be our strap. And I would pin it here. And then I would come over here and then use a snap or something like that. See how it came undone? I didn't use a stretch stitch. But you would snap it on the other side just like that. Okay. Now we're going to turn these. These are a little bit smaller, so they might be a little bit tougher to turn. There we go. There we go. And then here's the other one. And you turn your strap for your lace-up part the exact same way. The long strap will fit on this little wire turner, and it will turn. Okay. I take my strap that I just got through making. This is how you're going to do your lace-up. You're going to turn that under and sew this down on the end. We're going to sew our straps to our back. And there, I had a needle break. That's why it's halfway a little bit sewn there. We'll put that under there and try to sew it without breaking a needle this time. Sew it on each end, same way. Too much there, I'll cut it off. It's really thick right there, but if you have a heavy duty machine, it'll go through it. I've got these sewed on at the top and the bottom. Now I'm going to draw some lines so I'll know where to draw each individual. And it looks like it's going to be at the 1-inch line. And I'm going to do this on both sides. That's where you're going to sew it. Across here, 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 and here. Ready? Here we go. I'm going to sew each individual line. And this is what your lace-up back is going to look like. Instead of having grommets, eyelets, metal things, having to stick holes into your outfit. I know I hated doing that when I had to sew on grommets. To put in grommets. So I'm just going to cut a little bit of that out of there. So when I go to lace up my back, it's not too much in there. But that's how I'm going to do the other side the same way. This would be a size 5. Here it is. And you can see how the back laces up. It's nice and neat.